Okay, why am I selling my Divi today? That is the question, and how to do it. This is Neil Walters with the Neil Walters channel on YouTube. Basically, I bought a copper node earlier this year, and then I upgraded to a silver node, and then I heard more good news about Divi, so I actually bought a second copper node. So I basically upgraded my silver, shut it down, made a copper, and then I decided to go ahead and top off my savings, my Divi rewards, to buy my second node, which was copper, and I had to throw in a little bit more money with that. So basically what happened to my portfolio now is I'm over invested in Divi. So I think it's a great project, but now I want to invest in other opportunities of things that are going to go up a lot in short-term trades and things like that. So I do believe Divi will go up, but I don't want to have too many eggs in one basket, right? So I'm going to transfer some of my Divi rewards here, which you can see on my reward screen. Just one second. This is the history button, the clock on the left. And if you see rewards here, you can see it's spitting off these 540 Divis every few days. It's almost kind of random, but in my previous video I talked about how many of those I'm getting per month. So here at the top it tells me, how much my my rewards are currently $656. If you just want to double check that, the price is currently about 6 cents. So if you do times 0.06, you get 661. That's pretty close to what they show there. So what I want to do is transfer my rewards probably once a month now or every 2 weeks over to the exchange, which is Bitrue, change them for either Bitcoin or USDT, and then I'll go invest them in whatever I'm looking at this month, because I'm in this cool group right now called the Master Trading Group, and they're giving us all kinds of hot trades, and some of those trades could go up, like, just for example, 10-20% in maybe a few days or even sometimes hours. So there's big short-term money to be made out there by trading, and so I kind of have a balance of both. I have my long-term coins, and then I have my short-term plays. So today I'm going to transfer this over. So let me show you what I do here. The exchange here is Bitrue, and I clicked on the assets button at the top. This kind of works the same for most every exchange, except they're all just a little bit different, just like different banks have different websites, right? Clicked on my assets, and it seems to be defaulting here to USDT. And then actually there's two ways you can deposit. You can scroll down here till you find Divi, or you can type in Divi right here. Then you can hit the deposit button. Or the other way to do it is up here. You can just come down and click deposit, and then you're going to pick your coin. In this case, it remembered where I was last, that I was on the Divi last time, so it just brought this up. So now here I'm going to click on this Divi wallet address, and of course it warns you only to send Divi to this address. Now I'm going to go back to my Divi wallet here. These two buttons are your send and your receive, so I'm going to click the send button, and the receiver's address is what I just copied over from the other site. And now here's how many I want to send. I'll just do 11,000. I'll keep myself 32 Divis there. And I don't know why they call it make payment. It's really a transfer, but anyway. Now, of course, I have to do my password thing, so I'll do that off of video. Okay, they're just telling you that this will be visible because I don't think they have anything I don't think they have such thing as a private transaction yet. It's just telling you that basically every time you move anything, almost any blockchain, it's public, except for a few what they call privacy coins. So I'm going to say confirm and send. It says successfully sent. That's just a little pop-up box, so I can dismiss that. Now, different coins have different rates as to how far they transfer. I think Divi is one of the faster ones, actually. And then also each exchange has different rules as to how long, or basically how many blocks they require before they trust your transaction. So sometimes they'll wait on what's called 2 or 3 confirmations, sometimes even more. I don't see if it says here, but I'm just going to hit refresh here. And you can see it's not there yet, so I'll just have to wait maybe, anyway, I don't know how long I have to wait, 1 to 5 minutes maybe, and I'll come back and check it out here. Let me just show you a little bonus material here, and I haven't done this lately, but if you go to the history screen here, you can see it says this is my transfer out. And I guess confirming probably means it's, oh, there it says 1 out of 6 confirmations. When I mouse over that button, see it says 1/6. That means it's done 1 out of 6 confirmations. So I don't know how much that exchange needs. But what you can do to actually track it even more, if you click on this address here, you get this transaction ID. And then if I click on that, I think they have it hooked to the browser. I don't know why, but I still have Internet Explorer as my default browser, even though I don't use it, or Microsoft Edge actually, even though I don't use it very often. So anyway, that's the browser it opened it in, and you can see the details of the transaction here, and here you can see it's got 2 confirmations. There's the amount of the transfer. Of course, there were some minor little fees there, and you can see other things that are going on related to that in the same block, for example. And if I just hit refresh here, eventually we'll see this confirmation, go up to 3 and then so on. What block height means is how many blocks came onto the blockchain after your transaction. So the more blocks that have been added after yours, the safer the transaction basically is. I just was doing some reading and they said that there is a transaction status here we should be able to find. So let's go to the drop. This is how you do a deposit. And at the very bottom it says, this is the Bitrue documentation. Return to the Bitrue website, go to Assets and find and select Transaction History. So if we go back up here, see, I don't see Transaction History. What if we go back to the Assets page? Now, see, this is unfortunate. It's like most browsers, you should be able to right-click and open in a new window. Oh, I guess My Assets. Maybe we could do it that way. And then here's your, instead of transaction history, maybe it's this, transaction record. Meanwhile, over here, back in this browser, we're up to 5 confirmations now. So they're coming about 1 every 2 minutes, give or take. I want to show you another thing. Up here, it says up to block 963362. Well, see, my transaction is on block 963358. So you can see, if you subtract those, it's 4 apart. So I don't know why it says 4 instead of 5 confirmations. I guess they count this block itself and then 4 more after it, which totals up to 5. Well, it seems to have sped up a little bit. Now it jumped to 8 confirmations. So now we'll go back to the exchange. And see, oh, I didn't notice before. It was down here, but it said unconfirmed. I don't know why I didn't see that before, sorry. I'm going to hit refresh. And they still say unconfirmed. I don't know why. You'd think 8 confirmations would be more than enough for them, but you can see as long as it says unconfirmed down here, my Divi doesn't show up in my assets or my wallet as received yet. So I can't spend it, I can't trade it until they actually mark it as confirmed or success down here. So a few seconds later, I clicked refresh and now it says success, and now my 11,000 Divi are in my wallet here. So part 2 of this video, I'm going to show you how to trade it for USDT. I could trade it for Bitcoin. So I already had this screen open, but let me show you how you could get there. You can go up here to hit exchange, and then they're going to give you what's called trading pairs. So among all these trading pairs, these are the things that you can exchange, and basically you're trading A for B, one thing for another. And we're going to type in here Divi, or DIV at least. There. And oh, it looks like they don't have USDT, they only have BTC. Oh no, I'm sorry, looky here. At the top, they have the pairs grouped for some reason in 4 categories rather than having them all together. So I didn't notice that. So under USDT, there's what you have. And if you click that, it will basically take you to this screen here. Now, if you just want to sell it immediately without trying to get the best price, what you would do is go down here, go to the sell side, and it says this is how much Divi you have available. And usually there's a way to set it to max. So in this case, they have what's called a slider that says I want to sell all of it. And then you can place a limit order or a market order. Market order is the fastest one, but it may not always give you the best price, but it's definitely the easiest and fastest. So what in that case it's going to do is just whatever the current buyers and sellers are doing out there right now, it's going to take your divvy. And over here, this is what they call the sells and the buy orders. So what you could also do is look at how much you're trading here. Like I've got 11,000. And sometimes you see, like this case, there is a guy on the sell side who's also selling 16,000. So to sell my 11,000, I would have to eat this order, this one, this one, this one, this one, whatever. I'd have to get my calculator out. So I think what it would do is actually spread my cost among all these. It would try to get the best deal for each one, but it might gobble up several different orders here. And the worst price might be, for example, this one or this one down here, because they don't have one guy ready to sell 11,000 right now. And that's what's called liquidity. The more people that are buying and selling, like if you go to Bitcoin, selling 11,000 or say $100 or $500 worth of Bitcoin, that's super easy because there's just huge amount of liquidity there. But this coin right now on this exchange, the liquidity is not that high. Part two is if you want to be more strategic about selling your coin, look at the price structure up here, see what's happening. And right now, these are your time frame charts. I'm on what's called a 1 hour chart. Let's go back and let's look at several different time frames. So I hit 1D for 1 day, and it looks like it's refreshing. Okay, that was really slow. I'm not sure why. Now the chart looks pretty weird at first. So what you sometimes have to do is come over here to this side where the prices are, hold down your control key, and then drag the mouse downwards. And now you can see the price over a period of days. Normally they should have more days than this. Divi's been around for quite a while, so I don't know why they only have 1 day trading history here, or I mean up to July 16th. That's kind of sad actually. And you can see the price there is 0.06, and here it was like 7.5 a few weeks ago. That was the top. So I don't know where the rest of it is. But anyway, I'm trying to show you different time frames. So now we were on a 1 hour a minute ago. Now let's go down to say 15 minutes. And again, every time you do that, it's going to take a minute to repaint. I think my browser's eating up my CPU right now for some reason, my computer. Oh, so I did a little reboot of my browser there just to speed things up. See, now I'm holding the control key down and getting the bars where they're easier to read here. And now when you come to this side, you can also I'm using my mouse roller. Hope you have a roller on your mouse, where I'm rolling my little roller ball, or whatever it's called, down. And that lets me see more history. And if I roll it up, what you're doing is you're zooming in on like the present few hours here. So you can basically zoom in and zoom out. So basically you can zoom in and zoom out by rolling your mouse, by using the roller ball. I don't know what the name for that is, sorry, on the mouse. And then you can also put you can hold the left click. You can left click your mouse, and then you can drag this thing around. But that's kind of the slow way to do it. But if you want to go back to certain days, you can do that. Now, let me go back to say an hour here. It's still taking a long time to refresh, even though now my CPU or computer processor is not being heavily used. Notice this chart, it says here chart by trading view. You can also go to tradingview.com and see a lot of charts, but I haven't found Divi on there yet. Maybe it's hidden somewhere. I want to show you some, actually the internet went down for a few minutes, so now I'm back. That's probably why it was slow, it was getting ready to die. I'd like to show you just a few more things. Like I've done trading videos before, but this one I'm going to go just a little more depth than sometimes I do. So we've been looking at the chart here, and like if you can't drag it down, sometimes you have to hold the control over here, and then you can drag it down and move it with that little hand symbol. But there are also some other features up here maybe you don't know about. So let me get this out like a little bit bigger like this. Okay, let's go back to the 1 day. Let's see if it's faster now. Yeah, see, that was really fast. That's how fast it should be. Now I'm just doing this little mousing around to kind of get it more visible. What you can do, I'd rather actually see a little bit more. So let's go to 4 hours. Sorry, I'm just kind of messing around here. It's like an art, right? You have to play with it, get it the way you want it. There we go. So what you want to do sometimes is draw lines on here. So there's a drawing tool. So over here you can hit the drawing tool, and then you can come over here, and just for example, you can just draw a line anywhere you want. Just a second. There's the first point, and then like I could say, oh, I think it's going down like this. Well, usually when you draw those lines, you connect them like to high points. And sometimes you can form what they call a channel. So like you draw another line here, and then you'd connect the bottoms. And you can see, like, so in the last few weeks, it looks like Divi's actually in a downward channel, but it's been trying to pop out. You see, these are the times it went over the channel, and then maybe today it'll pop out and go to 20, who knows? Or it might come to the bottom of the channel again and follow this channel for a little while. That's what's called technical analysis, but there's a lot more to it than what I just said. Another tool here is called the horizontal bar, horizontal line, or I kind of like the ray. And what you do there is, like, you say, like, this seems to be a common high, like maybe right here. And so several points have hit that spot. So you can see what that does. It draws a kind of a lighter colored line across there, and then it puts the price in a highlighted mark there, highlighted box. So you can see, like, okay, if the Divi is going up, when it reaches this point, it may be reaching a resistance line, and it may never cross that line, or one day it may just, again, pop out over it. But it's places you might want to be aware of when you're buying and selling. And like, if you don't think this line's very straight, you can click on it, and then you can grab that little end and move it up here. If you don't like the color, so you can come over here and say, I want to make it blue instead, or whatever color you want. I don't know if they have undo here or not. Yeah, undo works, Control Z. And then if you want to make it thicker, you click it, and then let me try to remember where that is. Well, worst case, you gotta go to settings. You'll see all kinds of settings here. And oh, here, that's how thick it is. See right there? That's a little different. So now you can see it's a real thick bar. And you probably want to do the same thing to the other one. Okay, so anyway, now you have stuff like that on there. So before you sell, you can say, like, okay, maybe here I'm hitting a high, and maybe it's going to go to the bottom of the channel. So yes, this is a good time to sell. Like, actually, well, we're on a 4-hour chart. So now let's back out to a lower level chart, maybe say 15 minutes, and we'll still see those lines there, I hope. Let's go. Well, that horizontal line is there. I'm not sure our other lines are there or not. No, it looks like in this tool, on TradingView, your other lines would be there, but your horizontal line is still there at least. And now you can see what it's doing in the 15-minute chart. Now let's go to a 1-minute chart. And you might have to bring it up a little more. So you could see here, if we would have sold at 9 this morning, I could have sold it for 6.6 cents. And right now, it's going to be 5.9 cents. So I honestly haven't analyzed it enough to know if it's going to go back or not. So I'm probably going to go ahead and sell it now. So lots of times, like I said, I've done the market orders, but today I'm going to show you the limit order. Let's just try and see what happens. This will make the video longer, but okay, when you normally sell, like, okay, when you click limit here, again, these are the sellers and these are the buyers. Notice there's what's called a spread here. So if you're buying, you have to pay like 5.9 cents. These are dollars actually, so it's 5 cents, 5.9 cents, or $0.059. And then if you buy it, you have to pay a little extra. So there's a spread there, and that in this case it's over a penny actually. No, it's over 1/10 of a penny, not a penny. But anyway, so it seems like it's a pretty big spread. So what you could try is you could try to pick a number in between, or let's just do this. So if I'm selling, I'm going to unfortunately have to take the lower of the two prices. So when you click that, it puts that number down here, and then you can make what's called a limit order. And I'm going to go ahead and just slide the thing over here and say sell it all at that price. Now, so you notice right now there's not that many people waiting to buy at that price. So when I click sell, it's probably going to sell. See, the 770 went off of there immediately. So you can see this is kind of a slow moving exchange, at least on this coin right now, because on other exchanges, those numbers sometimes flash by so fast you can't even read them. So actually, this is a very good example of how to learn how this works. Now you come down here, And see, it tells you how much of my order was filled. I said I wanted to sell 11,000, and it says I filled basically almost 7% of that order. And then your order will just sit down here until other buyers come along and grab it. And it just looks to me like right now that's probably not going to happen. So what I'm going to do is actually just pause the video. I'm willing to lose again a few $5 here to make a good video. So I'm just going to let it sit there for a few minutes. I'll go do some other things and come back, and we'll see if my order gets bought up or not. Now what could happen is if the price goes down, my order will not be taken at all. If the price goes, is that right? Let me think about that. Yeah, what I need are buyers, right? So if the price goes lower, those guys are going to be buying at lower price and not my price, so my order will never get filled. However, if the price goes up, then my price is actually going to be a good price for the buyers, and then it will get eaten up or filled very quickly. I'll also notice this right here. This is my order. So you can see out of my 11,000 minus my 769, that's 10,231. So that's me, the lowest priced seller right now. So if anybody wants to buy, they're going to have to come buy from me, or they would buy from me before they go up and pay these higher prices up here. And then down here you can actually see the actual trades that have been made. And one more thing is that notice it says here my divvy available is 0. That's because it more or less, you could call it it's locked up in sort of a contract down here. The limit order is where my divvy is, and if I cancel that order, then my divvy would come back here. So it's locked here trying to sell it basically, and that's how they prevent you from selling more than what you have. Okay, I just popped back in to check on my trade here, and you can see it hasn't filled any more because the price has been dropping just a little bit. So now the price is 59232, and you can see my sell price here was at 59473. So again, people would buy from this guy before they buy from me, and I'm in no hurry to do this, so I'll just leave it here a while longer. Okay, so I just decided to change my mind. The other thing I want to buy is getting into a buying zone, so I want to go ahead and get my USDT funds over to this other exchange. So I'm going to hit cancel here on this order, hit confirm. Now you see all my divvy comes back here, so I can sell it again. And this time I'm just going to make a market order. And what'll be interesting to see is if I actually drive the price down. This is, not a very big exchange, but this may lower the price just a wee bit here. You can see this is probably the price I'm going to pay right here, because I'm going to end up paying this, and then I'm going to eat up part of this guy's order. So watch this order from 10,814. It should drop down to about 7,000 or 8,000. Okay, I got market set 100%. There's no price when you do a market order. Sell. And then it happens pretty much instantly or within a few seconds. And you can see down here I've now sold, and it gives you your average amount paid. And then I was talking about that other guy's order. See how maybe other people sold or something too. And see that candle actually turned red here. So it's like, it's funny how you can actually make an influence on a market selling a little order like this. And for another point, these master nodes that people are running on Divi, they take $100,000 minimum to be able to run a Divi node. So suppose you wanted to actually buy 100,000 of Divi right now. Look up here, and actually let me show you one more thing here. On these you can click the different orders, like this is the sell orders, this is the buy orders. So when you click the sell orders here, you can scroll up and down with that little tiny scroll bar right there. So if you wanted to buy 100,000 Divi, what price would you have to pay? Well, so you're going to scoop up this 1,000, that 2,000, there's 3,000, 4,500, 6,500, and then there's a nice big order for 16,000. So that takes you up to about 20,000. And you're going to scoop up all these little orders. And then there's like a 10,000 you can buy, and a 5,000 you can buy, and a 10,000 you can buy. And anyway, so you see you're going to pay, finally here's a guy with 50,000. So maybe that's what this guy's doing. He's like, I know somebody's going to want to buy a Divi node soon, and he sets his price up here, knowing that someone will be willing to pay that. And see, his price is 667, which is pretty high. But that's why and how prices can jump so much, because later today, some guy may say, I want a Divi node, and he doesn't care whether it's, let's see, it's going to be 100,000 times 6 cents, so that's like $6,000. And he may be so desperate he doesn't care if he pays 6,700 or 6,500 or 5,900. He just wants it. So he's going to click a market order like what I just did, and it will eat up all the orders up to, say, this 36 or 50,000 here. And then you'll see a huge green candle come up on there that'll actually go all the way up to, for example, 67, or at least, oh my gosh, I just noticed that's 66 cents. Huh. Wow. So you can almost not get 100,000 without, that's not, no one should pay that. That's why you would never want to click market order without knowing what you're doing, because you might actually be paying that price. So that's what he's actually hoping, is that basically some fool comes along, orders a $100,000 market order, and then it's going to eat up part of his order, and he's going to make a hefty profit. This is why Bitcoin Ben, who's a guy I watch every day, he keeps telling people, if you want to buy a whole node, contact him. He's got some kind of secret place to buy it. I don't know how that works, but he knows somebody that's willing to sell a large quantity at a more fair price than that. Wow, that's amazing. So this concludes my video on how to sell Divi on the Bitrue exchange. And I think I'll do another video, because where I'm going to move my USDT to is to an exchange called Qcoin, and I'm going to be setting up to buy some Ampleforth there, maybe later today when the price gets in my right target zone.